Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Joey from Don't Call My Wax Junk, and just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about Michael Jordan. Um, Seems to be trending now, like there's some popular documentary that started recently or something. Now, I watched episodes 1 and 2 of The Last Dance last night, and just brought back so many memories, not just of the 97, 98 team, but just how absolutely crazy wild I was for Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls from the time he entered the league. Um, I was an absolute total Michael Jordan fanatic. Posters all over my room. I had the life size cutout. I remember his height 6'6", and it had the little measuring lines, to see how tall you were compared to Michael Jordan. And I remember seeing that same cutout, oddly enough, in the movie Home Alone. That was one of the cutouts that he was using to make it look like people were home when the wet bandits were creeping around. And I just remember seeing that same thing I had in my room. And shoes, um, you know, T-shirts, posters, pennants. Uh, Idolized Michael Jordan, and wanted to be just like him. Basketball, believe it or not, for a long time was my first passion. Little problem with basketball though, you have to be good, and I was not good. I wanted to be good. I was good if we lowered the goal down to about 6 feet, because then I could, dunk like Michael Jordan did. And there's pictures of me with my tongue hanging out, going up for some kind of dunk when I'd lower my goal down to low enough to where I could, slam. And just great memories. Great memories. I don't know that there was a more iconic player. Um, I mean, it was Michael, it was Magic, it was Larry. But even Magic and Larry last night on the documentary talked about how Michael was just in a league of his own. The way he played, and the skills that he brought. And really, when you watch all of them on the floor, there was nobody that was doing the things Michael Jordan was doing. And so, of course, I start thinking, I believe it was after they won their second NBA title. This was the first. They won three, and then skipped a year, I believe, and then won three more in a row. But after they won their second title, um, he retired like out of nowhere, after his father passed away or was murdered. I mean, let's just say what it was. His father was murdered, and um, I guess it was his dad's dream, his dad's hope that he would pursue baseball, because as a young guy, I guess Michael was a good baseball player. And I think he felt like he owed it to his dad for him to at least give baseball a shot. And so he did. And I watched a 30 for 30 um, on his kind of trip through, his baseball experience. Um, not spring training, but just the minors. He played in Birmingham, Alabama, which is not too far from where I grew up, for the Birmingham Barons. And talked about the fact that so many folks thought it was a joke, but that he was, he's never been an athlete. And they even mentioned it last night. They did an interview with his dad, and his dad said, if you want to if you want to see what Michael can really do, tell him that he can't do it. And so many folks were saying these kinds of things, and that just guys like Michael Jordan, that just motivates and fuels their inner determination. And by the end of his time, where he walked away from baseball to go back to basketball, he was actually he'd actually improved remarkably from the time he started. And baseball is a tough sport to just enter in with no. I mean, think about how long he had not played, and the fact that he could even pretend and play like he belonged on the field was a testament to his athleticism and his just natural talent. But he was actually turning his baseball career around towards the end. He was hitting the ball a lot more regularly. He was working hard, and but then he just had a call to come back to basketball. So just thinking through all those things, and I got a couple of cards here from his baseball years. 94 Upper Deck was a big year for him. They had the branding for this card on the hobby boxes and the retail boxes. But so this is the 1994 Upper Deck Michael Jordan Star Rookie. I got a couple of them. This was a chase card in 94 for sure. Sold a lot of packs for Upper Deck, I imagine. But then there was an insert set. The way they did some of their inserts in 94 was odd, because the boxes were labeled by region. There was an East region box, there was a Central region box, there was a West region box, and on certain inserts you would get players from the region that you bought the packs from. And I happened to open up a Central region box and pulled. This is a diamond collection from 94 Upper Deck. This is the Michael Jordan from that insert set. This was a nice card at the time. But I don't think any of his baseball cards were chased after as much as this one. This is the 91 Upper Deck. This was before he was seriously considering baseball as a career. This was him just taking batting practice at Wrigley Field with the White Sox. This was probably one of the first. I'm not going to say it was the first, but it was one of the first mainstream chase cards where folks were actively buying packs just to find this card. You see the back there. It's got the SP1 for short print, even though that term was probably used loosely. This was not necessarily a card that was printed in small numbers, small quantities, but nonetheless, this was probably one of his most famous baseball cards. And none of these cards none of these ones I've shown you have any kind of value, a lot of dollar value or anything like that, unless you were to get maybe the 91 Upper Deck. If you got it graded and it graded out to a Gem Mint 10, maybe this one would have a little bit of value, but for the most part, his baseball cards don't have a whole lot of value. Probably because they were produced in excess because of how popular he was during that time, and the fact that he was coming to baseball, had every baseball collector just had their mouth watering to try to get their hands on some of his baseball cards. So anyway, guys, I just, after watching that, I'm looking forward to seeing, what the rest of these episodes in this series reveal. But to me, what it revealed last night is, in the first two episodes, is just what he brought to any team he was on, the fact that he was about winning above everything, and that if you weren't about winning, then you were going to hear from him. As a coach, I like that because it's a rarity nowadays to have leadership like that on a team, that and people that are going to lead by example. He was the hardest working guy on the court. He was the hardest working guy in the gym, in the weight room. He wasn't going to be outperformed or outworked by anybody, and he expected that same amount of work ethic from his teammates. And I just that reveals a lot about his character. So I'm looking forward to seeing what episodes 3 and 4 coming up this Sunday are going to bring, and the episodes that go beyond that. But it seems like it was a popular trending topic across social media, and made me dig through my cards and pull out my Jordan collection out of my tiny little baseball card collection that I have. I do have a few of the Jordans, and wanted to show them off and talk a little bit about his influence on my life, and I know that he had to have had some influence on some of your lives as well. So feel free to let me know about it in the comments, and guys, I appreciate you tuning in and watching, and we'll look forward to catching y'all down the road. Everybody take care.